So this is a Bess sharpness tester. If you spent any time watching knife content on the internet, you've probably seen these things being used to measure knife sharpness. However, is knife sharpness really what they're measuring? Well, yes, but probably not in the way that you think. You see, in my opinion, these things are fantastic if they're being used correctly. The problem is again, in my opinion, most of the time they aren't being used correctly, or at least they aren't measuring what people think they're measuring. Now first, I bought this with my own money, and this is the Pro model. This is the one with the fastest readout speeds. It's the best one that you can get. Now this tester works by recording the force needed to cut through a small piece of filament or line. Kind of like fishing line, but I think it's proprietary, or at least that's what they say. The lower the force needed to cut through the line, the sharper the knife. Now that seems pretty straightforward, and looking at the really tiny piece of line that you're cutting through, it would seem that we're measuring exact point or apex sharpness. But we aren't. Now believe it or not, what we're actually measuring here is the knife's geometry. Now like I've said a million times on this channel before, the thinner something is, the easier it is for that something to pass through something else. Now this is really easily demonstrated using an axe. Even though this axe is extremely sharp, it's harder to push this through a piece of cardboard than a much thinner knife. Even though the exact apex sharpness or refinement right there at the very point is essentially the same. At least up into a point where the edge becomes so thin that the edge doesn't have the structural integrity to maintain its shape. And the edge is damaged before it even makes it all the way through the thing that you're trying to cut. Like this paper thin razor blade, which is scary to try and push through a piece of cardboard. I really don't want this breaking like in my face or slipping. It just it doesn't have the structural integrity to push through the cardboard. The entire blade doesn't have the structural integrity to maintain its shape, and this also applies at the very apex. Now even something as small as this little tiny piece of line used in the Bess tester relies on the blade's thickness in order to pass through more or less easily. In plain terms, that means a knife with a 15-degree bevel angle will get a lower score than a knife with a 22.5-degree bevel angle, even though the absolute apex refinement is the same. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how this tester can be misleading by using another sharpness test, or a much finer sharpness test, the hair whittling test. Now for this demonstration, I bought a pack of razor blades used for shaving. These things out of the box, they're extremely sharp, hair whittling and literally paper thin. Now brand new, these razor blades will usually score 37, 40, which is pretty low, meaning that according to the Bess, they're very sharp. Now I'm going to use these things for a demonstration. What I'm going to do is give these razor blades one swipe to dull them ever so slightly on a black compound strop. And after that light pass, it is no longer hair whittling. It will not cut a free hanging hair whatsoever. It is still slightly shaving sharp though. I mean, barely. Maybe it's pulling some off, but that is not good. Now the question is, what does it score on the Bess tester now? So I am going as slow as I can here. I will get to user error in a second, so be patient. $109. That still scored a 109. Now the knife that we're using in this comparison is going to be the NAF's Lander in 14C28N, and I sharpened this knife to about 22.5 degrees on the Sharpball fixed angle system and took it through a series of strops down to 1/10 micron. And we get a knife that is absolutely hair whittling sharp. It whittles hair in both directions. Look at that. It immediately just whittles it. Hopefully you can see that. Actually, we'll whittle it again. No problem. Hair whittling sharp. Let's see if it scores lower than a 109. I can actually still see we're like right on the same spot we whittled the hair. Again, as slow as possible. I'll briefly talk more about speed in a second, But I even have some concerns about going slow. I won't get too much into that in this video, but I'm just using this thing as everybody else is using it for now. $144. So here we have a weird situation. We've got 144 here on the Bess. We've got 109 here. This guy will wiggle hair no problem. This guy will not. So which one's sharper? So the reason that this is happening is because a lot of the force necessary to cut through an object, the force we're actually measuring with this scale, even for something as small and as thin as this Bess tester media, is actually coming from the knife trying to wedge the material out of the way in order for the very apex to contact new material. You see, the material we are displacing by the blade, it has to go somewhere. And the thicker the wedge, the more force is required. Now we can demonstrate this by doing a really simple experiment. And this is something that you can try at home if you have some clamps lying around. Now we've done this before, but I'm going to show it again. If we clamp a piece of leather on one side and make a cut, the knife cuts through the leather very easily because the leather has somewhere to go off to the side to allow the blade to pass through it. But if we clamp the leather on both sides, remember neither clamp is attached to the table. Now all of a sudden the leather requires a lot more force to push through it because the leather has nowhere to go but off to the sides into the clamps. This means that we need to apply more downward force in either to overcome the compressibility of the leather in order to make room for the blade. Now I ask you, what changed here and made the leather harder to cut? Did the knife sharpness change? Did the leather change? Well, no, it was the material management that changed. And even something as small as this piece of Bess tester line doesn't like to be compressed. So the less we compress it to either side by using thinner geometry, the lower the force is needed to pass through it. This is also the exact reason why line tension also comes into play. If you're using the manual spool, the looser the line tension, the harder it will be for the blade to pass through. The tighter the tension, the easier it will be, thus a lower score, given the impression that the knife is actually sharper than it is. This again is because of material management. We can see as we make the cut, the line is pushed up and out of the cut, meaning the looser the tension, the more the material that's being pushed up and out is compressed onto itself, resulting in more force needed to compress the material, resulting in a higher score. Remember, lower is better. 63. That's like the highest score I've gotten. It wasn't even that loose. All right, so we'll pull this a little bit tighter now. 39. So that's pretty consistent with this like stock test media, but there's still, I think, some variation there. The line tension on these manual ones matters a lot. Now we haven't even mentioned or gone over how these things can be cheated, giving a false score by altering your cutting technique. So this is an ultra slow pass, or as slow as I can go. 42. Do a faster pass now. 27. Yeah, speed definitely matters. Making the test cut too fast can give a false score, as well as twisting in the cut. So two different people really can't do this test and compare results, at least super accurately. One person might be going slightly faster than the next, altering results. They also shouldn't be used to compare different types of sharpeners. If the different sharpeners are sharpening to different geometry or different edge types, the results won't be accurate. You see, we can actually dull a razor blade that won't cut paper worth a crap, just skates the surface, but still score 289. And compare that to a knife sharpened on a pull-through sharpener and ceramic rod that scored 318, but will slice paper much better. The difference here is the insanely toothy edge type cuts through paper much easier, but not the best line, whereas the much thinner, rounded over apex of the razor blade still pushes through the Bess line with less force. So again, which one of these is technically sharper? Realize that this is actually a way deeper subject than we are addressing here, particularly when it comes to different sharpening methods and edge types. So are these Bess testers actually useful? Well, yes, absolutely. If you are comparing identical geometry with a consistent sharpening method, then they can definitely be useful in determining a level of sharpness consistency. But everything has to be identical. The user, the sharpening method, and the geometry. If any of those things are off, you will get inconsistent scores. All these are measuring is how much force is required to push through this small piece of test line. Nothing else. If we change the test media, we would get completely different results. In my opinion, absolute apex sharpness is still best determined by the hair whittling test. A sharp apex will either bite or not bite. It's the finest test I know that isn't as related to geometry. As related. We aren't pushing all the way through something. Although even at a very fine scale like the hair whittling test, geometry still plays a small role. Man, I'm telling you, we are leaving a lot out in this video. There are levels to this. Let me tell you, we aren't even looking at the test media and comparing the test media. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown on some of the issues you may encounter with these. So do these things actually have a use? Well, yes. If you look at a handful of new razor blade tests, you'll see that we can actually get some pretty consistent readings. This means that if we were trying to replicate a result within a given set of parameters, this would tell you one way or the other. Meaning, say you have like a knife sharpening business and sharpen to specific geometries and grits all the time. This would give you some quality control testing in that regard. So with all that being said, I'm actually glad that I got another one of these because it can allow some consistency testing within a set of parameters, meaning replicating results. Although I think that a complement to this would be some way to consistently push the knife through the test media and an actual consistent way to tension the line, and also maybe some different types of test media. That being said, I have some ideas, but I'll save those for another video. Remember, testing sharpness is always going to be complicated. This is just one way to do it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.